Journey, Mohini Didi, the living light. Stories of spirituality that inspire and illuminate. Sorry. So now let's welcome our dear angel sisters. Sister Wadi, welcome.
Hello, Bhumi Ban. Hello, Om Shanti. Pretty amazing listening to the children, and where the children become the teachers, and you feel their sincerity, and the little story that he told about with his father, and so that they won't accept, in a sense, contradictions, that that he was able to discern and live up to what he knew to be right. And he also, in his own sweet way, took me to Madhavan, and I found myself in Nirvai's garden and him talking about the birds, and I could very much experience that scene. So that was very lovely. So, dear brother Dev.
Om Shanti, Sister Vadi. I think Nirvana talks about the birds to probably everybody who goes to Madhavan.
He does indeed. He's a lover of nature. Yes.
So we have, I don't know if I would call this as a story, but a nice email and perhaps a question for Didi in this. So I'm going to read this as is. Dear Sister Mohini, lots of love from the Netherlands. Receiving this question about stories, I remember that you shared once during a teachers' meeting in Madhuban how the first day you stayed in a center, the center in charge told you that in this center, one should sit the whole night in Baba's room. And that your answer was, but not me, because tomorrow I had to go to the university. Maybe my memory is not completely right about this story, but it has helped me a lot in using my own intellect and not to follow blindly. It has been for me sometimes a difficult balance between being obedient and being wise. Where are we following Baba and where do we follow human dictates? Thank you so much for the opportunity to be connected online, and thanks for the incredible fortune received by that. Om Shanti.
It's a great question. Om Shanti, Sister Mohini. Welcome. Again, I always wonder if you remember these scenarios, but if not the person or the question, maybe the scenario of the center and being told you had to spend the night in Baba's room. Do you remember that?
Well, I remember what I said. Yes, that's what I said. Means it was right. And because Mama taught me, but even since childhood, I always felt that doing right things is not disobedience. Actually, somewhere you need to have clarity of what you're doing, and you should have a lot of self-respect. And you will be surprised that I knew that I am like that, in the sense I will, definitely say or do what I feel is right. But Dadis later on start appreciating that quality by saying that you always do your homework when you come to us. I said, well, this is what I want you to tell, this is what I think. And then, of course, whatever you will say, I will do. But Dadis start liking when I propose something. instead of only saying yes to what they say. But as I had shared the story, that Mama once taught me that whatever anyone advises, ask you to do, but when you do action, then it's you responsible for that action. You cannot say, this one told me because that one told me, I did it because this one, because that's not, it's kind of blind following, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't mean that I don't respect that person or I'm not obedient, because sometimes the obedience means, there is a saying in India that means, you don't use your power to discern. But I'm not disobedient. I give you example. I went to one of the center, and early morning before Amrit Vela, the instrument will tell the sister that you have to cook in the morning. So she is not able to do Amrit Vela. So I saw it and she told me, I said, you say I will do it. Either I will do before Amrit Vela if you really want, but I will definitely do after. Don't say no,
Mm-hmm.
but say this is what I will do. So then she know, if she really insists, if there is a reason, then it's all right. Otherwise, Baba's Shrimat is that I should do Amrit Vela. And then also at one place I went in the morning, I'm hearing pressure cooker. So I said, why you all want to this sound of pressure cooker at Amrit Vela? So I asked around, I said, she said, no, that sisters want. At that time we cook. So there are many situations I saw where, like, one sister will start cleaning and washing pots after 10 night time. So that means it goes on until 11:30, 12. So I was there and I hear this sound of utensils and I say, what's going on? So I went down. I said, no, you all can't do it between 10 to 12. Baba says you all should be in bed. But because she was doing, then second one, third one, they all had to be up. I said, no, you cannot do it. So it does happen sometimes. There are certain characteristics in certain personalities. They want to do things late night, or but they can do it, but then others, because they are the juniors, they have to do what the senior is doing. So there are always little things here there where those who are younger ones, I tell them, no, you can say what is right. Like I remember when I came to London, Dadi Janki was there. And Dadi Janki likes to do chit chat after dinner. And that's not my favorite time. I always will eat dinner and I say, good night, I am going. So by 9, I will just say good night. And then they will sit from 9 to 10. So I never felt bad because that's what I was. And Dadi also, after some time, starts saying, our queen sister has to go to bed now. Like she started joking, but also she accepted. So sometimes if it's your life, you have to have some kind of what is good for you, what your feelings are. Otherwise, I think time might come, you yourself will be very confused because you never thought clearly or tried to act upon it. Dadi never saw me a disobedient. She always said she is most obedient.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I had proposal, Dadi, can we do like this? Or, so I think that there is a free will, but also a lot of respect for our coordinator or our seniors. It is both ways. Seniors shouldn't see that it's not respect. And
Mm-hmm.
younger ones shouldn't be all the time thinking I have to be like that. But how will you then have your own being?
Yeah. I'm laughing about the story with Daddy, because when I went to live in Tennyson Road, I think I was the opposite to you. I always liked late night. And so maybe Daddy was happy we could sit and have dinner, and sometimes went on till 11 o'clock before they would move over to 98. Yeah. Um, I'm curious, like when you came abroad, we get the impression that traditionally and culturally in India, that there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of regard, there's a lot of obedience for any authority figure, for parents, grandparents, anyone who's a bit older. And I don't think that's really the case so much in the West. And so, did you personally find you had to adjust in any way to maybe people not, even though you were giving advice or directions with the best of intentions, but that maybe you were challenged? Did you find that happened much, or how did you deal with it?
I think that not everyone in India is same, but
Of course.
actually most of the parents like their children to speak out. They
Really?
don't see, because they feel that the children should express themselves. And that's how I have here, anyone, I like they say what is in their mind, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you will find that what younger one says could be better proposal than what you have. So I was not really brought up that way. And so when I was there in Western culture or with Dadi, if I see, let's say somebody said something to Dadi about me, right? Dr. Nimla and two of us were there together.
Mm-hmm.
And Dadi will say something, and I knew that this is not what she's saying is right, because someone has said something. So I won't say that I told Dadi that what you're saying actually is not true. Like someone must have said they don't get along, but it's not true, because we were 100% in harmony. We will divide cleaning, we will divide shopping, we will divide making bhog. And anyone who is not well, like I will go to hospital, take food for her. So there was a lot of respect, lot of love, because I believed always that if we live together, live with love, so
Mm-hmm.
that we remember those days and say we had such because I don't have nature of conflict and complaining and all that. I love to be with people, and whosoever I have lived, I try to live very nicely. So, but I think that so I didn't had that challenge, but also like Dadi will start understanding that I am not doing because I disrespect her or whatever. But I think gradually we start understanding and appreciating, so I didn't had that problem,
Mm.
because I was always my master, from very beginning. Just imagine to come in Gyan in 1958, when girls will never go out. And I and one of my friend, we woke early morning, 20 to 5 in the morning, we leave home. And 5 o'clock was class, 6 o'clock finishes, come back, and then I go to university. Now, if I can do that at that time, so there was some kind of courage and confidence that, and I always said, it's my life and God is my guide. I will tell my mother, look, God is your mother and father also. Should I listen to you or God? She will smile and she will say, okay, listen to him. I said, because he is your father, mother too. So what should I do? Should I listen what he is saying, or should I listen to what you say? She said, no, listen to him. So I think that everyone is different in India too. There
Yeah.
might be some who always think, but we were loved by grandparents, parents very much, even with this independent nature, because they feel that if our children know how to say things wherever they go, even after marriage or somewhere, they will speak out, right? If they don't speak out, there will be a lot of suppression. There will be some kind of, authoritative behavior, which I don't think any parents like their children to go through, because especially with daughters, they have to go after marriage into another home. So actually they give girls a lot of freedom to speak out so that they don't suffer when they go, if there is any kind of authoritative or wrong kind of behavior, you know.
Yeah, what you were saying, and I suppose really that's the foundation of the yajna in some ways, that all these young people kind of rejected the laws, and in other words, they responded or answered to a higher law, a higher authority. And so that aspect of your conscience being very clear about what to do. But sometimes my conscience may tell me one thing, but somebody else is telling me to do another thing. And so that sometimes, because of the way you're being told, fear comes into play. And so you kill your conscience, as Baba would sometimes say, because you're afraid, meaning, like traditionally in religion, you're taught to obey God. And it's like, if you don't obey God, these are the consequences. Yes. And so how do you deal with that? Not you personally, but you must have seen it with people too, where they're afraid of the authority figure, and they suppress their own conscience, just for the sake of harmony or something.
You can do one time, 2 times, but you cannot do all the time. Okay. In the sense of sometimes if you feel that you want to make that person happy and feel that that person has authority, then it's all right. But if you do all the time, I remember that once or twice I did something because someone really said, was not because of authority, but whatever reason. I always regret it because I feel I caused sorrow to someone, or I did something which not my heart would have said to do it. So you can't let go of those things. So I will just recommend everyone to use conscious. But sometimes some people think freedom means do whatever you want. That I don't believe in. Freedom within our guidelines, is very important. Freedom within our principles or our values. But if some people say, oh, whatever comes in my mind, I do. There are many who are like that. That is more manmat,
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be manmat nor parmat, but it has to be Shrimat. And then I think sometimes we look at seniors as perfect, and I feel it is both ways. We are making efforts, seniors are making efforts. So it should be more helping each other. Like if I find someone has a particular way, some or other, I will, laughingly or some gently would make that person aware that this is the way, when I was very new Brahmin. So one of the teacher will always say, you all have to do it. So I said, otherwise what? And she was so upset. And I was a student in university, and I never believed somebody, so I said, otherwise what? And she started crying. And she was senior. She said, you insulted me. I said, I didn't. I said, the way you were saying, I didn't feel right. You could say things in a proper way. So I was always about, people have to respect each other. People have to say things lovingly. And I kept to that principle. And but it's still the same one. She loved me most. She said no one would have done that to me. But I learned a lesson because then of course I grew. I became an old Brahmin, and she became Dadi. And she will especially call me. She said, I don't forget, but I love you. So I think that right is right, no?
Yeah. But I like that too. I mean, that the courage, and there has to be, your love of truth that allows you to express in that way. And as you say, because of a light touch in terms of giving correction, that then people can trust you.
Yeah, and also I liked her very much. I
Yeah.
didn't say this, but only the way she said it. So I said, I mean, she know. And later on she said, I know you always love me. So I said, only way you say things, I can't take it, you know.
Yeah.
And we were many of us sitting there.
Yeah.
So but these days I try not to be a spokesperson, you know. I just try to be quiet, and whenever it's necessary, I will say. Not necessary. Like before everyone will come to me, please do this for us, do this for us. So I will speak out, and now I say, no, you all have to do it. I have done for you all. You do it, so that I could remain more quiet, you know.
Yeah.
And I do it a lot of with love and respect, but clarification of systems, clarification of many things are important, you know. But with the time, everyone realizes that what is right thing to do.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
yeah,
With time.
yeah.
All right, so I have more questions, but we'll leave it for now and invite Dev to come back on and see what nuggets. I liked Mama's response to you, that ultimately, even if somebody else has given me, I think I'm following their direction, but ultimately I am responsible. Dev, bye.
Yes, Shanti. I think doing what you think is right is not a disobedience. And obedience is not that you don't use your power to discern. So like you said, I should be obedient, but at the same time, I'm responsible for whatever is asked out of me. So I had to use the right discerning power to do the right actions. So I think it's a very nice balance of respect and obedience, and also a lot of freedom, actually. I like this whole aspect of really giving the freedom to see, you know, what one has to say, what one likes to do, and it does not have to be always this is the way. The freedom actually brings a lot of newness and closeness in relationships. So beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
I hope you don't get many like me around you.
Oh no, we can use some more like you, Sister Mohini.
No, when I say young ones.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank